Emmett Till will forever be 14 years old, a boy kidnapped from his family's house, beaten and lynched after he was accused of whistling at a white woman in 1955 Mississippi. History remembers Till for the brutal, unthinkable way he died. But Reverend Wheeler Parker, Emmett Till's cousin and best friend, smiles when he thinks about the way Till lived.
Because he was full of energy.
Energy.
Oh my goodness, energy just to throw away.
And the two of you had a special relationship. You were very close.
Yeah, we were, because he didn't have any sibling. If you look at his pictures, the contagious smile, and he's just a typical Leo, always in charge. But we don't emphasize his stutter. His stutter was just off the chain.
He stuttered when he spoke.
Not sometimes, all the time, every day, all day. He stuttered. I was reading a little article from our local paper in 1947. I believe it was in August or sometime. He contacted polio. Only kid in town contacted polio, and they left him with a stutter. Yeah, and he stuttered off, but he still was a center of attraction. That didn't stop him at all. Yeah, he's gonna be the center of attraction. He's gonna make you laugh, and he's gonna command attention. It was innately in him to do that.
Sure.
It wasn't. He was not obnoxious with it. It's just there, you know. He had that charisma.
Just very fun, liked people.
Oh my! Yeah, some people like it. Some people inward, you know, and some people outgoing. He was an outgoing person.
In the summer of 1955, Parker and Till rode the train together from Chicago down to Money, Mississippi, excited to spend the summer with family. Then one day, they found themselves outside of Bryant's grocery store.
You told all the stories, so I knew all the do's and don'ts. And we knew when Emmett whistled, that was a death notice. We knew that he could have been killed right then, absolutely nothing. If you didn't live in the South and experience it, you have no idea what I'm talking about, because it's hard. You can't just believe a country exists and live like that and nothing done about it, you know.
But you knew immediately that you all were in danger.
When he whistled, we could have died right then. What have you done? He's afraid because we're afraid. Till said, don't tell my grandfather we didn't tell him.
3 days passed, Parker said. Then, in the middle of the night, he heard the sound of a truck pulling up to his family's house. He knew immediately what that meant.
I said, God, I'm finna die. These people finna kill us.
As soon as you heard them outside?
I knew. Shaking like a leaf on a tree. It's a large home. They was called a shack. It's a large former landowner's home. Screened-in porch all the way across, and all for each side of the house, there's a bedroom that goes to another bedroom. No hallways. Go from bedroom to bedroom. My grandfather was in the bedroom on the right, and I'm on the left. So he didn't know where Emmett was. So it started with me, dark as 1,000 midnights. I mean, you couldn't see your hand before your face. It's hard to imagine living in a country when the moon doesn't shine, because you have to have light to reflect off of something. And that's how dark it was. No lights on in the house. They come in my way. I'm stretching my eyes, shaking and talking to God inwardly. And they walk with a pistol in one hand and a flashlight in another, coming toward me. Close my eyes, be shot. Time went by. No, my eyes, they passing on by me. Went to the next room. I didn't know my cousin. He's there now, the one told I was on the prize. He's there, but he didn't wake up. My uncle in bed with me didn't wake up. Curtis in the next room didn't wake up. Found Emmett in the third room with my two uncles. One of my uncles never woke up.
He remembers the panic there in that dark house. His grandmother even offered the men money.
My grandmother was trying to pay them, and my grandfather tried to say that he didn't have good sense or something like that to stop them from taking you in custody of a child. You want to lose a child, you know. So they were in duress. So they left with him this last time we saw him alive.
So your grandparents were trying everything they could.
They did, yes.
To stop them from taking it.
Right. Everything within bounds of being in the South. They didn't try anything violence or nothing like that, but tried to speak up for him. He didn't really understand. He's from Chicago and blah, blah, blah. He had no idea what he was facing. He had no idea where he was at. He had no idea what he was dealing with.
It's one thing to read or study history, quite another to have lived it, the terrifying aftermath that no book could ever capture.
What was it like there in the house that night after he was taken away?
After they took him away, nobody talked to anybody. My uncle in bed with me, I never woke him up. Cursed in the next room. And it seemed like daylight would never come. It was just dark forever. But no one moved from place to place or talked to anyone till daylight came. That's the way it was.
For many years, Reverend Wheeler Parker didn't talk about what happened in the house that night.
My grandfather never talked. We never talked about it.
So you didn't tell it often. You didn't tell that story often in the immediate aftermath of what
You
happened.
know why we didn't tell it? Because you know what black people say? My grandfather would have never let that happen. We were ridiculed. How did y'all let them come in your house? One little kid told me, I'd have got a broom and I'd have hit him in the head. I would have done something. One guy said I'd take a bullet. You don't tell stories of people who have that kind of attitude.
So there was a lot of shame around
this. There you go.
this.
And America was like, he got what he deserved. Because they portrayed him in a way that, I'm not afraid of you white people. I've been with white women. So you got what you deserve. You got what I was at my own school once, and the guy said, why are we talking about Emmett? He misbehaved. It's hard to counter it, so you don't talk about it until 1985, 30 years later.
The memories, the emotions, don't go away. Sometimes they're more present than others. Like when he comes here to Robert's Temple Church of God in Christ, where Till's funeral was held almost 67 years ago.
I was sitting right in this area around about where this light here.
You were sitting right here.
Yeah, about right in here.
Yeah.
And the family's on this side, of course. And
What do you remember the most about that day?
I just remember being kind of numb.
And he remembers seeing his cousin, the open casket funeral, a decision by Emmett Till's mother, Mamie Till Mobley, to bring the world face to face with the cruel reality of racism.
It was about here, and people came from this direction, going this direction, and he would be facing this way. And you could see the film when people were fainting, and people are not accustomed to seeing a body so mutilated, you know. I mean, he looked like a monster, you know, in there, and they just couldn't believe it, and they're just in awe. So you can imagine how it affected people.
What was it like for you as his cousin, as his best friend, when you saw him like that for the first time? I
said it's not him, really. I said it's not him, I'll see him again, because we're taught that we can see each other again.
So you refused to believe it?
Yes, and they said, and I often wonder, how could I do that? And I said, I've asked people to help me understand. Some said, well, I'm probably in a state of shock, God's will. And I never got a good answer.
The night at the house, the funeral, all of it, at times, still brings him to tears. But Reverend Parker says, as a man of faith, he has peace. And now, with a new national monument dedicated to Emmett Till and Mamie Till Mobley, Reverend Parker prays it reminds the country of where we've been and how to keep moving forward.
This place here is going to be a beacon. It's going to bring people in. People are going to come in. It's going to change some hearts of people when they see it and they see what happened and they see the story, they hear the story.
Blayne Alexander, NBC News, Chicago.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.